Your ability to know and quantify just how unpopular Donald Trump actually is might soon become a little bit more uncertain, a little bit more dicey, because one of the most crucial and respected pollsters, Gallup, just announced that after nearly a century of tracking presidential approval and the approval of other politicians as well, yet they're just done with that. And coincidentally, they're announcing that as Donald Trump hits the lowest numbers he's ever had, and coincidentally, they're doing it within just a few weeks of Donald Trump threatening to sue pollsters that report bad numbers for him. So that's like a lot of coincidences all at the same time, and I don't love it either. So let's dive into this, see what we can figure out. So they said that starting this year, they would stop publishing approval and favorability ratings of individual political figures, saying in a statement, quote, reflects an evolution in how Gallup focuses its public research and thought leadership. Thank you, ChatGPT. That is a very nice and vague statement that you've presented there. The company did not explain why it no longer considers the president, like the leader of the free world's approval rating, as like an important issue that shapes people's lives. They just didn't actually say anything about that. Now, we do know that his most recent numbers in Gallup are at 36%. It's among the lowest any president has ever had. It's not literally the lowest in Donald Trump's defense. Harry Truman, Richard Nixon, George W. Bush, they scored in the 20s towards the ends of their terms. So it can get worse. Maybe it will get worse. We'll see. We just won't have the numbers from them. And I do want to remind everyone of the multiple times that Donald Trump has threatened to sue pollsters. So there was this True Social post. This was about 3 weeks ago, saying the Times Siena poll, it's always tremendously negative. They'll be added to my lawsuit. And they want them to keep all their records and how they computed these fake results. You don't have to put computed in quotation marks. I believe that they computed the results. It's not, they actually did it. And I'll never understand. Well, I know he's not being honest, but if he were being honest, if they just make it up, if they just make up negative poll results to make you look bad, why were your poll results higher last year? Why didn't they make them up last year? Why did they make you seem more popular then? That doesn't make any sense. And there's other True Social messages too. Now, they're never going to admit that this is why they're doing it. And I can't prove that this is why they're doing it, Luke, but it feels timely. What do you think?
It does, and to your point, really, this feels like one of the most obvious things. Let's say you were doing downsizing and you had to limit downsizing. I've been recommending downsizing, that guy here. And you were trying to remove some of the research resources that were required. This would be like the last thing to go.
Yes.
This feels like the most relevant thing that they do. The most easily cited from an average American. Like, what does Gallup do? You'd be like, oh, I feel like I've seen an approval rating maybe of the president. And so it does feel timely. And just, I just was on Piers Morgan's show yesterday and it hasn't come out yet. But one of the things that caused me to kind of lose my cool was that we spent 30 minutes talking about should athletes be speaking out about politics or should they not, and like nothing productive. And then towards the end, Piers was like, we have a little bit more time. Let's talk about, and John, just a little trivia. Can you guess which topic you want to talk about next?
Is it trans people?
Trans athletes. You're right. There it is. And so
I wasn't there for the record.
No, he doesn't know. It's not out yet. And so I kind of lost it because even looking at this, as you're referencing the lawsuits, you think about this unprecedented, aside from Gallup, whether this was influenced by Trump or not, it is a reminder as you go through the reasons why it might not be a coincidence of the brazen authoritarianism of Trump. This story kind of went underreported, but a grand jury, which this is pretty hard to do, not a single grand juror was willing to approve of charges against Democratic lawmakers who reminded military members of what is already the law, which is they aren't supposed to follow illegal orders. And Trump threatened or said it would be justified to kill those Democratic lawmakers and then actually tried to get his DOJ to arrest them for saying something that is their right and that is also true based on the law. And meanwhile, he's suing outlets and then using his government power to try to force them into settlements, which are sort of like a bribe to get him off their back. He tried to sue into oblivion Ann Seltzer for that poll that he didn't like there. Luckily, she won that case. And this is what authoritarians do to get any bad information out of the public view. Yeah. And so I bring up the Piers example because in that context, for there still to be so many quote unquote unbiased journalists who choose to fuel salacious culture wars at the expense of our literal democratic republic makes me really sad.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And I'm a little bit torn because generally, like ideologically, based on my makeup, I think that everybody should be able to talk about politics, including athletes. But on the other hand, that if they were banned from talking about politics, we might not have to see Riley Gaines' face anymore. So, well, maybe
she's
maybe
not an athlete. She's a civil rights leader.
Yeah, maybe you have to actually win a competition to be considered an athlete for this. Also, just I love the transition on Piers Morgan. Again, I didn't see the show or whatever, but what I love about it is, like, should athletes be talking about politics? Really, athletes? What does athletics have to do with politics? Okay, let's now transition to, we're gonna be banning some athletes based on their gender identity. We're gonna take them down, hunt them down. Like, oh, so it is political. So maybe they should have a perspective on this stuff. Piers Morgan, anyway. Okay, well, yeah, it's a final point on this. Great that, so you're gonna cut something and it's gonna be the one thing people want out of Gallup. Yesterday on the show, we reported on a different thing that Gallup covers, which is like people's estimation of how optimistic they are about the future. And that's useful, I like having that. But you can cut that before the approval rating thing. Like that's, I think, a way more peripheral issue. Do people approve of what the president is doing is like the main thing that a poll is supposed to be able to say. And for some reason, they're gonna be cutting that one. Final thoughts.
Just to add too, in terms of a dystopian future we're headed towards, and when I say some of these things, it's about aligning so that we understand the logic, the actions of the Trump administration with the authoritarian playbook. It's not to say they're going to accomplish all the things that I'll list off as frightening efforts, but why logically would a leader, would a president want people to not report on their approval? It's not like we won't see in free and fair elections the manifestation of those bad numbers. So normally you would want the numbers to be known so that then you could campaign accordingly. The only reason in my mind that you would not want accurate polling is because you also don't want accurate elections and you don't believe that they will be in the future.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something there.
If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here, so thank you in advance for joining.